Okay, so you guys have seen my videos. You know I love abandoned places. You know I love the dead malls. And as a dead malls enthusiast, I thought that I would give my review of the new show called Abandon on Viceland. Now, this show is hosted by a guy named Rick McCrank. He's a professional skateboarder from Canada. He's been on Plan B, Birdhouse, and I think he's on Girl now. I'm not sure if he's still on there, but I know that he was on Girl. In fact, he has a pretty sick part in the Girl video called Yeah Right. You'll have to check it out if you're a skater. Anyway, this new show on Viceland, it's on Friday nights at 9 o'clock. On the website, they describe the show as part travelogue, part epic skate video, and part in-depth documentary series, which follows McCrank as he explores North America's strangest deserted spaces and talks to people closest to them. He also infiltrates local skate scenes to show how these empty lots and cast-off buildings can become vibrant, sustainable playgrounds for the next generation. So by their own definition, they are targeting 3 different types of viewers. The trailer for the show, it looks absolutely awesome. It makes it look like it's going to be such a good show. I'll put a link down below to the trailer as well as an interview with Rick McCrank about the show. If you by any chance don't have the Vice channel, you can also watch the full episodes on YouTube right now, so I'll also put a link down there where you can watch those. Now, I was really excited to see this first episode because it takes place in Akron at Rolling Acres Mall. I've never actually been to that mall when it was open or after it was closed down and abandoned, but I have watched probably 100 at least videos online about it, and it just looks absolutely awesome. I would love to go there sometime. Definitely not going there alone though. Now, I gotta say this first before I go any farther. In the trailer, he claims that he's been exploring abandoned places like his whole life, but when you watch the first episode here, it is very apparent and clear that that is not true at all. He just doesn't have the knowledge, the experience, or the respect for these abandoned areas like someone who actually has been exploring them their entire life. He doesn't have any kind of understanding about why these areas are important to the people that they are important to. And in his own admission in this interview that I was reading, he even says he would refer to himself as the reluctant host. So basically, like, he really didn't have any interest in doing this, but it seemed like it would be something that was fun because he'd get to travel and see these things he's never seen before, and his best friends were running the show. So that's kind of how he got in there as the host. Now, I will also say that Viceland is a channel that has shows about like weed and destruction, and they have Thrasher's show, King of the Road, where they're like burning things, catching themselves on fire and drinking while they're skating and things like that. So that's the kind of viewers that they're really going for. So it's kind of the group that if they were at an abandoned area, they probably would be there to destroy it. So with that in mind, the very first thing that Rick McCrank does when he goes to Rolling Acres Mall and he's waiting for the guys that he's supposed to meet there to show him around the mall, the very first thing he does is go up and he pees on the building. Now, we all know that pissing on something is a pretty degrading act. You know, like people say, oh, I'm gonna piss on your grave, or, you know, I'm gonna piss on your bones or something, you know. So that's like seen as something that you would do if you really want to hurt somebody. So I'm not really sure why he would do that, especially when he's waiting for these guys to show up that he knows love that mall. I don't know if that was the idea of somebody at the channel, Viceland, if they said, hey, you know, piss on the building, it'll be funny. Or if this was really something that he just did, I don't know. I thought it was kind of degrading and kind of, you know, just rude, especially a rude way to start off the show. The guys show up, they talk about the mall for a little while, and then they go inside. They walk around the inside of the mall, and they show Rick just different parts of the mall, and they tell him stories of when they were growing up, things that happened in the mall, including part where a little kid who's playing in the play area went underneath the elevator, the interior elevator, when his mom wasn't watching, and it came down and crushed the kid. So that was kind of crazy. And I thought that segment was pretty good, actually. To be quite honest, the cinematography I thought could have been better. I thought they could have got better still shots, better shots all around of the whole mall. Maybe they figured there's already so much online that they didn't really need to do that, but I kind of felt that it could have used a little bit more of that. But I couldn't complain too much about that segment, just the part where he peed on the building. Didn't really understand that. But as they walked through the mall and these guys were telling the stories about themselves growing up there and their experience in that mall and why it means so much to them, I related to that because when I walk through some of these places, like the Canton Center Mall that I did a video on just recently, you can look back through my videos and find that one, and that's where I used to hang out when I was a kid. And I grew up shopping in that mall, and so I can go in there and I look at everything and I see it both for what it is today, which is just an abandoned, crumbling building, and I also see it for what it was at the time when it was just a really busy mall and people were, buying cassette tapes at Camelot Music and getting cookies at the original cookie company and hanging around the water fountain, tossing in the pennies and making wishes and everything, and pushing their kids around in the carts, riding the little trains at Christmas time and things like that. When you're in an abandoned building like that you spent time at growing up, it's kind of like a ghost town. You look and you see this crumbling area, but at the same time, you see exactly what you used to see when you were there as a kid. And the place was just crazy busy. So it's just really strange. It's hard to explain. But I thought that segment of the show was pretty good. I had a problem with the next part, though. When they went to another mall in Euclid, and that's also in Ohio, but we didn't get to see any of that mall at all. Apparently there are about 25 churches, according to what he said, that have taken over former retail spots inside this mall. And they spent that entire segment at a church service, which was, it was okay. It would have been okay to have like a little clip of that. But I was left wanting to see the mall. I wanted to see the interior of the mall and the exterior. The show's about abandoned places, not about church. So I thought that was kind of a waste of time. The next part, they go back to Rolling Acres Mall, because these two guys who originally showed him around, they called him back and said there was a little bit more to it. They basically told him that the mall was also haunted, that they are ghost hunters, and they wanted to take him through there and, try to show him some of this stuff. Personally, I would have left well enough alone. When you say someplace is haunted, then you have the pressure on you to prove it or be laughed at. And they didn't prove it. So the whole time it kind of felt like he was walking around like a skeptic, kind of laughing at him. And really, these two guys who came off before as genuine and having this love for the mall that they grew up in, now in this other segment where they were talking about the mall being haunted, they kind of came off as like goofy, and just silly, and it was just, I wouldn't have done it personally. But again, towards the end of this segment, Rick goes out into the middle of the mall and pees on a planter. So it's the second time that he's peeing on that mall, right in front of these guys who the mall means so much to. So again, I don't know what to think of it. I don't know if it was a producer of the show, at Viceland saying, pee on the building. It'll be funny. That's what our viewers want to see. I don't know, but I can tell you this. People who have a genuine love for abandoned buildings and urban exploration, they don't want to see that. Me being the viewer, I don't want to see that. That's degrading. I understand it's a building that's falling down and crumbling. It's just going to crap. But I still, that's just not what I want to see. And I would be willing to say that everybody I've ever interacted with who has a love for these abandoned places, they wouldn't care to see that either. It's degrading. And I'm not whining. I'm a skater too. You know, I've been through that whole hardcore punk thing, and you know, and destroying things. But you know, this guy's 40 years old. He's 40 years old, so you know, it just doesn't really fit. All in all, I thought the show was okay. It wasn't wonderful. I definitely would not say, hey, that was a great show about abandoned buildings. Hey, that was a great show about dead malls. I've seen a lot better footage and documentation of abandoned areas, including Rolling Acres Mall, on YouTube. I can go on YouTube right now and watch 50 videos that are better than that episode. But again, I kind of understand, you know, they're trying to appeal to a wider audience, you know, not just enthusiasts of dead malls, you know, not just skaters, and you know, they're trying to reach out to a few different viewers, and I'm not even sure they know who those are. So one thing I will say though was really cool was, as a skater in these episodes, he skates in these abandoned areas. As you've seen in the clips I put in here earlier and in the trailer, he goes skating through Rolling Acres Mall with a sheet over his head, like a ghost. Kind of making fun of the guys for saying it's haunted, but I thought it looked awesome. I thought that was really cool. I just wish he would have done it longer, because you only see it for like a second at the end of the show. And then he also went to a place in Cleveland that he referred to as the Fun Wall. Apparently it was an old abandoned diaper factory that had crumbled to the ground, and it became a DIY skate spot. So I thought that was really cool, but you'll have to go watch the show for yourself, see what you think of it. I think for what they were trying to put out there, they probably succeeded with what they were trying to present. And as a skater, I like the skating. As an abandoned areas enthusiast, I liked that stuff, but I thought it could have been a lot better. That's my personal views on the show. I'm going to watch the rest of the episodes. I wouldn't say that it was bad enough I'll never watch it again. You know, it was a good show. It just wasn't it wasn't wonderful. And I really didn't think that Rick was a good host for the show. He's a cool guy, he seemed to be pretty genuine and everything, but as far as a host for a show about abandoned places and dead malls, if you know nothing about it, how can you host a show about it? That's how I feel. So, alright guys, I'm going to let you go. I hope you liked this review. I'm going to go put those links in the bottom here, and then I think I'm going to go watch another episode. Peace.